Hey, welcome back. We are working now here where we're talking about inventory. We have already gone through and talked about how to create some new items. So let's talk now about working with purchase orders. Now, purchase orders is a way of keeping track of the different items that you've ordered. You're going to create a purchase order and you can see at any point which items have come in, how many were backed order, things like that. So let me show you how to create a purchase order. Here is where you create a new purchase order. Now, purchase order and estimates are on the same line here because they're both considered non-posting. If you create a purchase orders and your items never come in, it doesn't affect your inventory in any way. You will need to run specific purchase order report to see anything going on with purchase orders. Now, one quick things before we create ours. Let's go to the items list. Remember earlier we created the screen doors and we told it that we had one in hand. Well, we are going to create a purchase order for 5 more. So you will see that this will change as soon as we do section 3, where we'll talk about receiving items. So let's go back to home and we'll create that purchase order. Now, the first thing it asks is who is your vendor. We're going to say Perry Windows and Doors. And then it asks if we want to use the class. If you're using the class feature, you want to use that consistently. And then it has a drop sheet too. Now, this is a list of your customers and job. If you like, let's go ahead and put him there. Here's the date you created the purchase order. And here's the purchase order number. That it's going to start with the number 1. And if you want to number something else, go ahead and type it in. And it will number it sequentially until you change it. The next thing you want to do is come down where it says items and type your items in. Now, I typed this and it just popped up. And now you can see it pulled in my description. I just need to put in a quantity. And by the way, if I want to change that description, I can go ahead and do it here and it will affect it permanently. And note it pulled in the rate of 50, and that's because we set it in our items that way. Let's say this one time they're $45. We just change that now. And that's really all you need to do. Let's see if there is anything new up here. Under the main tab, most of the things you're familiar with. Here's your way of searching. If you're looking for a particular purchase order, you can either use your arrows or your find feature, so you're familiar with that. Here's where you create a new purchase order. It will save this when you're on and create a new one. And also remember, if you've been working on this for a while, you might go ahead and tell it to save it at this point so you don't lose what you're doing. Remember, you could save it as a PDF if you want to send it as a PDF to your vendor. Here is where you could delete it. Here is where you create a copy or memorize. Also, you could print this. Let me show you what a purchase order will look like. We'll just preview it. It's very plain. It says purchase order. It got the vendor and address. Also, you could email this, and remember, both of these you could print or email it later. I could attach a file to this if I need to. And here's something you haven't seen. Create an item receipt. Once we've actually received some of these that come in, we'll need to create an item receipt. That's what will happen later when we talk about receiving items. But you're probably not going to be on this desktop when you're receiving that item. Now, let me click the formatting tab. And you will see a couple of options here that have to do with the purchasing order. Don't forget to run spell check. You want to look very professional. And here is where you work with inserting a line, deleting a line, and copying if you need to do that. And here is where you can customize the template. There's also reports you want to look like. Open purchase is one of them. Open purchase orders are purchase orders you have created and you haven't received everything from that purchase order. Maybe somewhere backed ordered or something like that. You can also look at the job or some of the details. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit save and close at the bottom here. And now that purchase order is actually created. So what I would like to do now is go ahead and talk about receiving these items in the next step. So carry on with me, subscribe, and make sure to hit the notification bell.